Of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which opens the market for 1.3 billion people, is set to see a major boost as Afreximbank commits to a $10 billion adjustment fund to support the trade deal. Now, Afreximbank marks its 30th anniversary at this year's annual meeting in the Ghanaian capital, and the bank is also collaborating with the Acfta Secretariat to set up a $10 billion fund to promote intra-African trade. Now, despite the significant truth, President Nana Akufo-Addo says more actions are needed to promote trade transactions in Africa. The Afreximbank plans to build its capacity to deal with the intra-trade financing gap. Let's hear details of that in this report.
A celebration of a milestone in financing businesses and development in Africa, as the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, marks its 30th anniversary at this year's annual meetings in Accra. The bank is collaborating with the AFCFTA Secretariat to set up a $10 billion fund to promote intra-African trade.
Afreximbank and the AFCFTA Secretariat have established the AFCFTA Adjustment Fund intended to, among others, compensate eligible countries for tariff revenue losses arising from the new trade regime that the AFCFTA presents. The fund will also support the private sector to adjust in an orderly manner to the new arrangement.
Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo believes that more still needs to be done to boost trade finance in Africa.
Our development finance institutions remain highly undercapitalized. Eximbank has a capital of some $6 billion United States dollars, which excludes the most recent contribution by countries supporting the ongoing general capital increase. More importantly, we need to evaluate whether this $6 billion capital is sufficient.
The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AFCFTA, when fully operational, is expected to open the market for 1.3 billion people and a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion. But some experts believe its implementation has been slow due to the lack of proper investments and funding for businesses in Africa.
A key focus of the discussions here is the call for more investments and financing of African businesses. At the end of the meetings, delegates and participants hope to come up with new ideas that will help drive financial and trade flow within Africa.
Whenever we want to talk about development in Africa, we always look at, where will the foreign direct investment come from? Meanwhile, it's our investment, it's our riches, it's our wealth that is being used by the first world, let me say, developed economies to give back to us, because they source the raw material for their development from us. So now we are saying some African countries are richer than the others. We should have that African direct investment going on.
Every country is supposed to do what we call the investment promotion, promoting investment across Africa. And so the various state parties are supposed to do so many programs financed by Afreximbank and other banks. I also urge Afreximbank to do more, because we are yet to see more of the pragmatic approach in terms of promoting export and imports. We need to hear the whinings of machines that we are producing.
The Afreximbank wants to build its capacity to deal with the inter-trade financing gap. The bank says it will increase its trade investments across Africa to $40 billion in the next 3 years and hopes it will help take millions of people out of poverty in Africa. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, CGTN, Accra, Ghana.